Okay, so what if I told you that one of the most powerful, life-altering tools in global child health isn't some high-tech vaccine or a complicated medical procedure? What if it's something way, way simpler? Today, we're talking about the simple act of washing your hands. And trust me, you'll be amazed at how much is unlocked by this one basic habit.
I want to start with a number. Just take a look at this. 1.8 million. Let that sit there for a second. What on earth could that number possibly represent happening every single year?
Well, that number, it's the number of children under the age of 5 who die from diarrheal diseases and pneumonia. You put those two together, and they are the two biggest infectious killers of young kids on the planet. And the truly heartbreaking part, so much of this is preventable. So right off the bat, we're talking about a preventable tragedy on a massive scale. It's a global crisis, but the solution isn't some futuristic billion-dollar invention. For most of us, it's literally right there, just a few feet away in our homes. And that brings us to our hero, a 20-second hero to be exact. I'm talking about the simple act of washing your hands with soap. It sounds so basic, right? Almost boring. But as you're about to see, the effects this has on a child's health, they're like a superpower. I mean, just look at this impact. Proper hand washing can cut diarrheal disease by almost half. It can knock down serious respiratory infections by more than 20%. And it can slash school absenteeism due to illness by over 50%. These aren't just small tweaks. This is a game changer. And the evidence for this is just overwhelming. This isn't a new idea. It's built on decades of solid research. I mean, look at neonatal mortality. When new mothers practice hand washing, the death rate for their newborns can drop by up to 60%. It's like a protective shield for kids when they are at their most vulnerable. This is why we have to completely reframe how we think about this. Washing your hands is not just about being polite or clean. The data is clear. It is a fundamental public health intervention, every bit as critical to a child's survival as getting their shots or having enough to eat. But here is where the story gets even crazier, and honestly, even more profound. Because it turns out that just preventing sickness, well, that's only the beginning. There's this incredible hidden connection between clean hands, how a child grows, and even how their brain develops. Think about it. What if stopping a kid from getting a stomach bug wasn't just about avoiding a few miserable days? What if it was actually about protecting their entire future, their potential? Okay, so this brings us to a condition you've probably never heard of. It's called environmental enteric dysfunction, or EED. Here's the simple way to think about it. Imagine a child's gut is constantly fighting off germs. It's in this state of low-grade chronic inflammation. It's like an engine that's always running hot. It just can't work right. A child with EED can't absorb food and nutrients properly because their body is constantly diverting energy away from growth just to fight this invisible battle. So here it is. This is the crucial link. When hand washing stops those constant infections, it protects the gut from EED. And that frees up all of that precious energy and all those nutrients to do what they're supposed to be doing, building a bigger, stronger body and, critically, building a healthy brain. And the effect this has on development it's just incredible. A huge study from the CDC found that in communities where they really pushed hand washing, kids were reaching their developmental milestones a full 6 months earlier than kids who didn't get that promotion. Let that sink in for a second. 6 months. We are talking about a direct link between washing hands and a child's brain getting a better, faster start in life. So this all leads to a really obvious question, right? If hand washing is this powerful, this cheap, and this effective, why isn't everybody just doing it all the time? And that brings us to the core problem, the huge gap between what we know and what we actually do. So here's another number for you. 19%. It looks really low, doesn't it? What could that possibly be? Yep, that's the estimated global rate of people washing their hands with soap after going to the bathroom. Just 19%. It's a shocking number, and it shows you that knowing you should do something and actually doing it are two very different things. And this gets to the heart of it. The problem isn't a lack of education. Most people on Earth know that washing your hands is a good idea. The problem is behavioral. It's about the little things that get in the way. We forget, we're in a hurry, the soap isn't right there, the water's inconvenient. You see, it's a habit that has to be formed, not just taught in a classroom. Which leads us to the final, and I think the most exciting part of this story. How do we actually make this life-saving habit stick? Well, the answer isn't more posters or more lectures. It's in the modern science of behavior change. See, the solution is about a huge shift in thinking. The old way was all about education, scaring people with posters about germs, giving lectures. It relies on you consciously thinking about it. The new way? It's all about design. It's about using what we call behavioral nudges. These are tiny, subtle cues in the environment that make the right choice the easy and automatic choice. Okay, here is a perfect real-world example from a study in Bangladesh. Researchers went into schools, they set up soap and water stations, and then all they did was paint some bright, colorful footprints on the ground leading from the toilet stalls directly to the hand-washing station. Then they put some brightly colored soap where you couldn't miss it. That's it. No lectures, no posters, not a single word about germs. And the results? They were absolutely staggering. Hand washing with soap went from a baseline of just 4% to 74% after they introduced these simple nudges. And it wasn't a fluke. That high rate stayed for weeks. It's proof that a simple, cheap change to the environment can create a massive change in behavior. The lesson here is so incredibly powerful. To build a lasting habit, it's not enough to have good intentions. You need good design. We have to focus on making the right choice the easiest, most obvious, most automatic choice there is. So, let's just pull this all together. What have we learned? 1. Hand washing isn't just nice to have. It's a cornerstone of child survival. 2. It's absolutely crucial for both physical growth and brain development. 3. The biggest challenge isn't teaching people, it's changing their behavior. And 4. Clever, innovative nudges can be way more effective than lectures at creating real, lasting habits. When you really step back and look at all the evidence, the lives it saves, the futures it unlocks, the brains it helps build, it becomes pretty clear. The most powerful tool we can give the world's children is, quite literally, already in their own hands. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If something as simple as hand washing is the first, most fundamental step to ensure a child can reach their full potential, what does that tell us about the next steps we all need to take? Thanks for watching.